بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. Allah Jalla Jalalu wa Man Walu has exalted the status of women. Deen has come to boost their honor, to revere them, and everyone has a responsibility. It is a matter of teamwork. In a race, somebody is the driver, somebody is the assistant driver, the navigator. In a tournament, somebody is the goalkeeper, somebody is the goal scorer. Everybody's got different responsibilities and they make up the team. Likewise, the family structure also should be engineered so that they work as a team to get to Jannatul Firdaus, directly to Jannah, with no casualties, with no fatalities. Shaitan will make effort to make somebody a victim and increase the casualties. So his job is to be lethal. His job is to take everybody to Jahannam. We should make sure that we don't get caught up in the plotting and planning of Shaitan, and we understand the system of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why He said, when a woman rises up in glory, her energy is magnetic, her sense of possibility is contagious. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put potential in every human being. Allah has put potential in the women of this ummah. An entire surah was revealed in the name of women. So we have to make sure that the potential that Allah has given us is utilized correctly. Shaitan sometimes uses fear to keep one back from taking the bold step, like Sahabiyat, who were ready to sacrifice everything for Allah and His Rasul. Whether it was their fathers, whether it was their brothers, whether it was their husbands, whether it was their sons, they were ready to sacrifice all of them for the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why He said, a woman who knows what she brings to the table is not afraid to eat alone. A woman who knows what she brings to the table is not afraid to eat alone. So, understanding who we are, what we have been chosen for, and then striving in that direction. But we have to understand our own potential. She has to understand the status which Allah has afforded her. That's why He said, a woman who does not guard and treasure herself cannot be of very much value to anyone else. A woman who does not guard and treasure herself cannot be of very much value to anyone else. So to understand the value, Hazrat Mujaddid Millat Maulana Thanwi Rahmatullah alayhi used to say with regards to serving others, and he has praised women, saying that serving khidmah is a great virtue. But a person to take the difficulty, to take it upon oneself to serve others is not easy. But many of the time we find the wife, the mother at home, entire day is dedicated to khidmah, to service, from the time she wakes up till the time she sleeps, 24/7, no break, no rest, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year. The entire life is revolves around khidmah. So Maulana used to say that these women here have such a high degree of altruism, the quality of giving tarjih and preference. This is embedded, this is ingrained. They don't complain. They do tirelessly. In fact, as you say, that these women sacrifice their luxuries, sacrifice their comforts, and they say, do that which suits you. Do not, we don't want to disrupt your schedule. We don't want to cause you taklif. To such an extent that these women get into debt, and Hazrat used to forbid women to go into that debt, but they take that burden on themselves. So there's a need to go into debt also. They'll sacrifice themselves. And he used to say, my heart testifies that their maghfirat, their pardon, their forgiveness, these are one of those few qualities which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make the maghfirah of this, the women of this ummah. Their jazba and their desire to make khidmah, from looking after the husband to the children, to the house, to the workers, to making sure everything is organized, everything is systematic. If it's a time for going out, preparation for everything, get it ready when visitors come, to do that. So in all avenues, she's an embodiment of khidmah, and she's a master at what she does. So we see when women made a tawajjuh towards deen, then they excelled like none other. When it comes to hidayat and the sublime target which we should reach, ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim, Allah give us hidayat. Then this book is the book of hidayat lil muttaqeen. Now what are the sifat of the muttaqeen? So one is iman, alladhina yu'minuna bil ghayb. Then immediately, وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. So salah and spending. Ulama say, yeah, Allah has mentioned iman, jani qurbani, give your life, and mali qurbani. Again it's emphasized again. وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ. Iman again, but with iman, giving your life and your wealth. أُولَٰئِكَ عَلَىٰ هُدًى مِّن رَبِّهِمْ وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. So that's the criteria of success, that's the criteria of salvation. So we see with regards to tarikh and history of Islam, who has taken these accolades, who were the first, who has done this? We will find that it is women who have sacrificed. The first woman who had sacrificed her life for Allah, Hazrat Sumayya radiyallahu anha, and Khadija radiyallahu anha, who sacrificed her wealth. But they were the initiators, they were there from the beginning, the first. So the accolade of doing things the first, and we're saying the ultimate sacrifice, the ultimate reward, the fundamental, the elementary, the primary, the essential, the basic taqazas and command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which were fulfilled. Such a thing which the beginning chapters of Quran highlights, such a thing which is paramount. Women of Islam were the pioneers in this avenue, that they are unmatched, unrivaled, they have superseded the men in this avenue here. And again other ayat, inna Allah ashtara min al-mu'minina anfusahum wa amwalahum bi anna lahumul jannah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bought from the believers their lives and their wealth. So this transaction is done, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done the deal. Allah has compensated us, Allah has paid us, but this life and this wealth belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hasan Basri and Qatada used to say, Ba'yahum wallah fa'aghala thamanum. By the oath of Allah, Allah has purchased them and Allah has raised their worth. You are so valuable. By the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned this transaction. When somebody is doing a deal, you can't deal with everybody depending on the commodity. But a commodity of Jannah which is so rare, the fact that Allah has sold it to us, a rare commodity, means you are of so value, you will trust somebody. Okay, transaction is done, how you will pay me? EFT, okay, done deal. So yeah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has elevated the status. Likewise, Shimar bin Atiyah has mentioned, مَا مِن مُسْلِمٍ إِلَّا وَاللَّهُ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ فِي عُنُقِهِ بَيْعَةٌ وَلِلَّهِ فِي عُنُقِهِ بَيْعَةٌ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done a sale with every believer. There's a neck, his neck is on the line. For what? that he must conclude the deal of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَفَى بِهَا أَوْ مَاتَ عَلَيْهَا. Either he fulfills the terms of the deal or he dies against it, not complying. So, and then he recited this ayah, yeah, showing the deal has been concluded. The deal has been concluded. So Khadija radiallahu anha, in this flagship, in this accolade, in this trophy of spending her wealth in Allah's path, she gets the award, she gets the medal, and she was the first person who accepted Islam. She was a woman of distinction amongst the very few, the first lady ever to be honored, where Allah and Jibreel gave her the salam. She was greeted by Allah and Jibreel. She was the wife, first wife of the Nabi of Allah, and it was in her house that revelation began. And Jibreel alayhi salam came on many occasions. Likewise, during different trials and tribulations, she was on the side of the Nabi of Allah, supporting him. When it came to the siege in the valley of Abi Talib, she was by his side, supporting him and sacrificing everything for the Nabi of Allah. Even in her passing away, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam was very grieved and remorse. Aisha radiallahu anha narrating that whenever Nabi alayhi salam talked about Khadija radiallahu anha, he praised her a lot. And once Aisha radiallahu anha, her sense of decorum overtook her, and she said that, "Oh Nabi of Allah, you have been blessed with a better, younger wife, and all the time you are speaking about Khadija, Khadija." Nabi alayhi salam was forbearing, wasn't happy with her statement inside, and said, "I've not found a better wife than Khadija. She had faith in me when everybody else abandoned me. Even when my tribe abandoned me, she accepted Islam. She accepted me and spent all her wealth. So when the entire world was against me and persecuting me, she was there, and through Allah's permission, Allah blessed children, progeny through her as well." So she was special. And with regards to Shahadat, Hazrat Sumayya radiallahu anha, her history starts where three brothers from Yemen wanted to go to Mecca. One was Yasir, Harith and Malik. The two returned to Yemen, but Yasir was happy with Makkatul Mukarramah, the Baytullah. So he was partnered with Abu Hudhaifa, and he had an intelligent slave girl by the name of Sumayya, and Yasir got married to her. From their marriage, Ammar was born, and after that their two more sons was Abdullah and Harith. So Hazrat Sumayya bint Khabat radiallahu anha, besides being the first shaheed of Islam, she was amongst the first 7 people to accept Islam as well. So Abu Bakr, Ali, Khadija, Zayd, Ammar, Bilal and Sumayya radiallahu anhunna wa anhum. But she was persecuted, and so much so that once Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam was passing by and he saw all 3 family members being tortured. So Nabi alayhi salam had to console them because nothing could be done at that time. Sabran ala Yasir fa inna maw'idakumul jannah. Be patient, the family of Yasir, your final abode, your final destination is Jannah. Abshiru ala Yasir, maw'idukumul jannah. Glad tidings for Jannah is at your doorstep. Your final destination is Jannah. So like that they were persecuted. Once Abu Jahl was meting out punishment to Sumayya radiallahu anha, and she never wavered. Imagine being tortured by Abu Jahl, and eventually he gave up and took a spear and stabbed her, and this was a wound which Allah granted her shahadat. So she was the first shaheeda of Islam. That was 7 years before Hijri. So we find that the highest accolades that went in Islam was for the women of this ummah. So she can be good like none other. And she's on the contrary, decides to go on the opposite route of evil, then none can get close to her. They say there was a woman, a wife who shot her husband because she cleaned the house, the floor was spick and span, and he walked on it and messed it up. So she shot her husband. So the policeman came and they radioed in that we've got a case here now, a woman shot her husband. And it's a very interesting case. He radioed to the police station to send backup, etc. And he said, you know what, she shot her husband because he stepped on the floor. He stepped on the floor, it was just mopped. So the station commander said, have you arrested her? He said, no, not yet. The floor's still wet. The floor's still wet. So such potential may use for good or evil. And if something comes into her heart, then she'll stand like a rock. She will stand with istiqamah and consistency. She'll give her life for it, like none other. There was a couple, they've been married for 60 years, and they had no secrets except for one secret. So the woman kept in a closet a shoebox, and she forbade her husband from ever opening it. So when she was on a deathbed, with her blessing, he opened the box and he found a crocheted doll and $95,000 in cash. So he asked her, what's all of this? So she said, no, that's the secret I've been wanting to tell you. I kept it for last. Before I depart, my mother told me the secret to a happy marriage is never to argue with the husband. Just accept everything that he says. When the time is right, then you could put your opinion, but don't ever get into an argument or fight with your husband. Just keep quiet and take your yarn, your wool, and do what you need to do. So the husband was very touched, and he was amazed that for 60 years you pay me patiently. He was in tears and he was crying, and then he looked into the box again. He seen there was one doll, and he was now a little bit elated. That means in 60 years you were only once angry with me, he asked. And where did all this money come from? So she said, yeah, actually the money is from selling all the dolls. The money came from selling all the dolls. So sifat, Allah has given them sifat. It's how they use it. Shah bin Shujaa Kirmaani Rahimahullah was a great saint, a wali, and he was from a family of monarchs, but he decided to abandon the throne, to abandon kingship, and he decided to devote his life to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He passed away around 300 AH. So the king of Kirman proposed for the daughter of Shah bin Shujaa rahmatullah alayhi. He did not accept the proposal. So he was traveling once and he noticed in a masjid there was a poor youngster who was performing salah, but he seen his salah was such devotion and he was impressed. So the friends of Allah don't look at wealth, they don't look at status, they look at ta'alluq and ma'iyat with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which unfortunately that's not the criterion. We look at how the boy dresses, we look at what car he drives, we look what his bank balance is, we look what the family business is, and that's how people decide that the only thing nowadays, in the olden days there were other criterias, Now the only thing is he must be rich. So when the boy completed his salah, Shah bin Shujaa approached him and told him that I would like you to marry my daughter. So the boy, obviously somebody just comes and marry my daughter. He didn't know who he was in the first place. So he declined. So he said, would you like to marry a girl who recites Quran Majid, performs salah, fast? She is beautiful. She is endowed with beauty and chaste, pure. So again, the youngster thought about it and he said, you know what, I don't have the wealth, I am poverty stricken, and my life is on zuhud. Nobody would offer me their daughter. So he said, no, I will get you married, don't worry. And he reassured him that we will not expect anything from you. So he gave him some money and told him to buy some bread, food, perfume, and told him the deal was done, and whatever he needed for the mahar as well, use it from there. So when he returned home, he told his daughter that he wanted to marry her to this youngster. He praised the youngster and gave her targheeb, which they agreed. Again, the father, the daughter, the family on one level. They were looking for deen as a criteria. Nikah was done, concluded, performed, and he took his daughter to the home of her husband. So she entered, her gaze fell on a piece of dry bread which was placed on a jar. She asked him, what's this? He replied that this is bread remained from yesterday and I've kept fast. And the leftovers of yesterday, I've kept it to break my fast today. So the girl turned to leave. She was leaving. So I'm on my way. So the husband remarked, I knew the daughter of Shah bin Shujaa would have too much of pride to live with me. She would not be content. She would not manage with my poverty. She can never be pleased with her husband. So the girl, the daughter replied, she said, I'm not leaving your home because of your poverty. Rather because your trust, your reliance, your yaqeen in Allah is weak. I'm shocked. I'm not even surprised. This is your condition. What surprised me more is my father told me you're marrying a youngster that is pious, that is Allah fearing, that's got akhir in front of him. But I'm shocked that he married me to a person who does not even have trust and yaqeen and tawakkul in Allah to provide for him a piece of bread that he has to keep yesterday's leftover food for today. So he said, no, I have a valid reason to keep the bread. The wife was not happy. She said, your reason is your business. As far as I am concerned, I will not live in a home which food is kept. Either I will leave this home or you remove the bread from this home. So then he accepted his error. He gave the bread in sadaqah. And that was the nikahs of those days. And that was the arguments of those days, where they would fight that your yaqeen in Allah is less. Here the fights today is the dress, the wardrobe, the shoe, the holidays, the this, the that, etc. For dunya we are fighting. Allah make us maaf, protect one and all. The amal for today is that we were reading Salah, Sahaba says, and when they came up from ruku, Sami Allahu liman hamida, somebody said, Rabbana wa lakal hamdu hamdan kathiran tayyiban mubarakan fi. When Nabi Alayhi finished his salat, he asked, Manil mutakallim? And then he mentioned the fadail. I've seen more than 30 farishtas rushing to write the reward. May Allah give us tawfiq wa make an amal wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.